All right, my apologies to my viewers and subscribers. I know it's been a while since my last video, and in my last video we talked about the underestimated and sometimes underappreciated performance improvements within the Waydoo Flyer ONE Series up to the Waydoo Flyer ONE Plus, especially when the wings and or prop have been upgraded to higher performance wings and props. And in that video I gave an exclusive look at the aluminum version of the Streamline Prop by eFoil Solutions, which I had reviewed earlier this year in its debut as a 3D printed version with high praise. And though I intended to show and share my experiences with that prop more in this follow-up video, I decided that I needed to do two videos, not only on that prop, but also the folding prop as well, which has been horribly delayed for probably about 2 years. I've had this prop for a very long time, and I'm finally going to do a review on it. And so I'm going to be doing a 2-video post, the folding prop first, as well as the Streamline aluminum prop. And these 2 prop videos will be a good transition and on the same topic as the previous video, and a 4th video following after the prop videos on the eFoil Solutions axis wing adapter. And all 4 of these videos have to do with the underestimated performance that you can get from the Waydoo Flyer ONE Series, especially the Waydoo Flyer ONE Plus, with various upgrades via the props and the wings. And so why has it taken me so long to do a review on this prop? Well, first of all, when I first put this prop on my Waydoo, I was experiencing some cavitational type noises and sensations that would pull me off track or even pull me down. But I'm also on the big Explorer wing, and I whoa, usually don't. What the heck was that? I usually don't ride on this wing. I don't know if I snagged something or felt like it was trying to nudge me the wrong way. Okay, that was weird. And at first I thought it was because of the prop, because those experiences were happening coincidentally around the same time as switching to the folding prop. Experiences that would make it harder for me to make deeper, harder, faster turns, especially with a larger wing. And it has taken me a very long time with various tests, conversations with other Waydoo owners, conversations with other eFoil owners, and also most recently confirming with my own experiences upgrading to the Waydoo Flyer ONE Plus to understand what was causing those cavitational issues. And although I'm maybe not 100% sure exactly what was causing all of those issues, I can say now with confidence that they were not entirely caused by this prop. So just to summarize, I have reproduced the cavitational sounds and experience with every propulsion unit available for the Flyer ONE, but there's something about the folding prop that seems to accentuate the problem even more, especially on the original Flyer ONE versus the Flyer ONE Plus. Something about the shape of this prop will accentuate the problems of the original Waydoo Flyer ONE and those cavitational sounds and experiences. I don't know if it is the shape of the propeller blades being more squared, but more than likely the issue lies in the shape and size of the core of the propeller. As you can see from this screenshot taken from Jet Surfing Nation's review video of the Waydoo Flyer EVO, the new shape of the folding prop now has a much wider base, giving it more of a cone-like core versus the original small cylindrical core. This, I believe, should allow for better flow of the water from the larger diameter fuselage into the propellers of the new folding prop, which I believe should reduce the sensations and sounds, or even eliminate those cavitational like sounds and experiences that I was having as with this original smaller cylindrical propeller, where the flow of the water would more drastically and quickly come off of the larger base of the fuselage directly into a smaller step down cylindrical core of the original propeller. And hopefully that makes sense to you. And if any of you know more about hydrodynamics, and maybe can chime in the comments on whether you believe that that is the reasons for the accentuation of this propeller causing the problems that I've had, and if the new design should eliminate that. And hopefully those who have a chance to ride it will be able to confirm with that being the case or not. Another reason for the delay of this video is because I was waiting for an opportunity to use this propeller for its intended use, which brings me to a very important part of this video. Why would someone want to have a folding propeller? The reason you want to have a folding propeller is so that you can potentially surf waves depowered, whether they be the waves of the ocean or the waves behind another boat, which is known as wake thieving or wake poaching. And so when you cut the power or release the trigger, the flow of water will hit the backside of the propellers and fold them in, creating much less drag, which is essential for surfing any waves. When you crash, because of the less resistance, your eFoil is going to drift about twice as far as what you may be used to. And that is a really good testament on just how much less drag there is when it does fold. The Waydoo folding prop is different in two ways compared to any other folding prop that I've ever seen on the foiling market. The first is how the blades fold. They fold together. You push one and the other folds as well. There are gears inside that work together so that both blades articulate together. Whereas all other folding props that I've ever seen, starting with the lift folding prop, each blade has its own hinge and they'll actually be rather floppy simply by doing that. And you can see that just my motion here will eventually make the blades fold. I've heard some people comment that the gears may slow the action of folding. But honestly, with the force of water and just shaking, there's not going to be any problem with these propellers folding. This action will not be any slower than individually hinged propellers, in my opinion, based on what I've seen and the fact that I can just shake them closed. The second feature about this propeller that's different from any other that I've seen is the shape of the propellers. It's more like a bow tie. They're more flat and not as rounded. The Waydoo folding propeller is a little bit longer or at least more square. The distance of the propeller is roughly equal in its width and length, and every folding propeller that I've seen is roughly these dimensions or even longer than it is wide. And the reason that I'm pointing out these two things is not only because that's physically the differences that you'll see, is that I think it helps with the repowering action. And so the lift folding propeller was one of the very first on the market, and they recently came out with a newer one which has a little bit more longer blades, more oval versus rounder ones that they started off to begin with. And the change has been said to make repowering much more forgiving, whereas the original design, repowering could maybe jerk the rider into motion and wasn't as forgiving. With my limited experience using this folding prop on the second wave, opposite of the main wave on a wake surf boat, I personally have not noticed any significant challenges getting back on acceleration, getting back on power. I haven't noticed any major jerking or anything like that. And that may be due to the fact that the blades are not as wide. It could be because they're squared off, and it could be the fact that they fold and unfold together. They are not independent. That's just me talking out loud. I don't know. And it's just my anecdotal experience. It seems to me to be easy to get back on power. So while I'm thinking about it, I'd like to show that there is a little piece of rubber embedded into the metal on this side, as well as this side, so that when the blades do open, they are going to hit that rubber instead of metal to metal, which is going to help maintain just the overall integrity of this prop. So I thought that was really nice that Waydoo added that little detail of the rubber on each side. And you can see that there is no scratching or damage onto these folding blades. So number 3, what are the performance and improvements that you can expect from this prop, whether you're using it for surfing waves or not? So obviously the major reason you want this prop is if you have any plans for surfing waves of the ocean, or wake thieving, or wake poaching as they call it, when you try to surf a wave behind another boat. And when you do surf a wave behind another boat, please be considerate of that boat and their wake and other people around you, especially if they do have a surfer in tow. I would recommend that you use the opposite wave, second wave back, so that you can use hand gestures and possibly hear and see the reaction from the owners of the boat that they are okay with you surfing and poaching and thieving their wake. No power.
Oh wow, that you're just going?
Just your wave.
Yeah.
On the second opposite side too.
Wow. Yeah, these foils are a blast.
Even an eFoil could go on the wave without power.
I didn't know that.
But you have to have a folding prop.
Yeah.
Awesome!
Thanks.
That was so cool!
Kind of continue to pirate your wave.
Yeah, I love it!
All right. So this prop has amazing acceleration and a higher top speed, especially on the low end. So allow me to give you an example. Me, 165 pounds, if I am on gear number 10 or power level 10, I will be getting about 14 to 15 miles per hour on this prop. Whereas the original 3-blade prop, I would be getting about the same speed as the gear that I had been using, so I'd be only getting 10 miles per hour. However, in my experience, on the high end of those gears, say at gear 24, I was getting a maximum speed of 25 miles per hour. And this is with the patroller wing and the original stabilizer. So although this prop has much higher speed on every gear, it tends to taper off on the higher end and does not maintain that 4 to 5 miles per hour faster speed per gear at the higher gear settings. This prop is going to give you amazing range improvement, partially because of that higher speed at a lower gear, lower power level, so you're getting higher speed at a lower gear. For me, I got about 2.5 miles more range simply by switching to this prop, because you no longer have the shroud and it's more efficient. One of the things that you may get an increase in performance or a decrease in performance, depending on which prop you are using beforehand, is the prop breach recovery forgiveness. So when the prop breaches the surface, it may be easier or it may be harder depending on what you were using prior. If you were using the more rounded, traditional shaped, bladed 3-blade prop that came with the original Generation 1 or Kickstarter Waydoo Flyer ONE, you will notice a decrease in prop breach recovery. However, if you came from the Waydoo Flyer ONE Plus that had more squared off prop blades, you will have an increase in prop breach recovery forgiveness. So overall, this prop, based off of about 5 different props that I've tried on the Waydoo Flyer ONE Series, this one has an average prop breach recovery forgiveness. We're going to try 10. Noticing an initial sharp dip and then recovery after a full breach. So who is the folding prop for? I would recommend the folding prop for anyone who is using it for its intended use to surf waves depowered. Again, whether that's the ocean or the wakes of another boat. If you are not using it to surf waves depowered, I would actually recommend a prop that does not fold. Because when the blades fold, your board is going to drift even farther from you. The fact of your board drifting farther could be considered an unnecessary safety hazard, as it will be harder to catch your board if there's heavy winds, or it may potentially run into a rock wall if you're surfing some canyons like I do, or if you, heaven forbid, fall in front of the board, it'll drift more into you. So those are a few little hazards that would accompany a folding prop that would be unnecessary if you are not using it for surfing waves. You know what I mean? Anyway, if you have the original Waydoo Flyer ONE, then you may experience more cavitational like problems, as I mentioned earlier and in my video prior to this one, because the rigidity of the board and the frame within the board and the mast is not up to par with the performance of this prop. But if you're just casually riding, you're not going to notice. If you're a performance rider and you're trying to ride harder, faster, carve deeper and harder, you will notice greater issues in being able to perform in that way with this prop than the original prop or the streamlined prop that I will be posting a video of after this one. I definitely recommend it if you have the Waydoo Flyer ONE Plus. You will not notice those issues because of the greater integrity and rigidity and performance of the Waydoo Flyer ONE Plus and all of its aluminum structure. And so this will be a major benefit for those, whether you are a performance rider or not. If you're someone who really wants to have that benefit of prop breach recovery and you don't want to swim after your board, you're not really going to be using it on waves, you want to save a little bit of money, then the streamlined prop is going to be better because it is the highest performing prop for the Waydoo Flyer ONE Series, especially if you are riding on flat water and not intending to go on waves depowered. Although the Waydoo Flyer ONE Plus has better aluminum components, rigidity and response through the mast and the board, the original Waydoo Flyer ONE, even the Kickstarter version, has a lot of potential as well, especially for a new first-time eFoiler such as myself, because it was my first board. And in the previous video, I may not have given it enough praise or gratitude and thanks because of my excitement of what I had experienced in the improvements of the Waydoo Flyer ONE Plus. So I'd like to leave with you a video that I should have put in the previous video of me riding my original Waydoo Flyer ONE Kickstarter version with all original components: the patroller wing, the original stabilizer, the Generation 1 plastic 3-blade propeller, because the metal one would be more loud like a cicada, and the plastic one is more like a lower pitched drone sound noise. And I would not be able to ride this way with any other prop available for the Waydoo Flyer ONE Series, except for the Streamline prop by eFoil Solutions, which I'll show the aluminum version in the next video.